And you guys see the cat in the background? She's having a very good time sleeping. Hi, baby. Welcome back to the podcast. I finished all of my assignments, all of my training for yoga teacher training. So I turned in all of my papers, and now I'm just waiting for the certification to come through, and then I have a few more hours left in terms of getting registered as well. So I have been working on yoga teacher training for a very long time. It's been, well, not quite a year, but almost a year, because I was doing it through an online program because I'm a student and I couldn't take off 200 hours to just be doing yoga teacher training throughout the entire day. So I decided to do it online so I could do it self-paced, and while I was in classes, I tended to not do much or just completely stop for a while to focus on my academics instead. So I'm really excited that I am finally in this place where, it paid off. I was feeling a little overwhelmed by it at one point, and it's something that I was really excited about doing, and I knew would be a really good investment. But it was a lot. I mean, it was 200 hours. So with that, I wanted to take a podcast episode to kind of reflect on what it has taught me and a specific area that I think is really important for us to find, whether it's through yoga or anything else. I think it's really important to find something called a flow state. And so a flow state is something where have you ever been doing something that you love and you get so lost in time and you lose track of the time? You have no idea what's going on around you, all of these different things. It is just you in that very present moment. That is a flow state. In yoga, it can happen a lot. In meditation, it can happen a lot. But ultimately, it usually happens when you're doing something that you really enjoy, that you're having fun. Time flies when you're having fun. And when you are really just living in the present moment. And so that's a big reason about why I practice yoga. I started practicing in 2019. I mean, I had always kind of done it before because my mom really liked yoga, but I really only did it for the stretching, for the poses. It didn't mean that much to me. And then in 2019, when I had pandas disorder, I started doing it a lot more because taking care of myself, I realized, was something that made me feel really good. And it did kind of make me lose track of time and forget or just kind of live in the present moment and not be stressing about all the stuff that was going on in my life. So that's when I started to kind of realize the benefits through not just your body, but your mind and your soul as well in yoga. And that's when I really started to challenge myself as well, to try and learn different poses, trying to kind of do that. But I never really understood how to piece it all together. I always felt like there was more that I wanted to understand, and that I really wanted to be able to make a connection with my practice. And I never really felt like I had gotten that. So then fast forward to freshman and sophomore year of college, I was doing a lot more yoga every single day, especially freshman year, every morning, every night, even if it was just 5 minutes, just to, as a meditation practice, to just get my body and my mind and my soul all in the same place. And that's when I really started to notice the benefits there, but I just wanted to understand more, like the mechanics of how it works in your body, the philosophy behind it, where it comes from, why it has such impactful results. I really wanted to embrace the practice as a whole and not just these poses that I've seen online or from a few classes and I don't really understand as much. So that's when I decided I wanted to become a yoga teacher, because I had noticed how much it had impacted me in my own life, and I wanted to be able to share that with people. And I also, a big portion of it was really just I wanted to continue to learn more about yoga, to understand it, to really be able to make a connection with it, because I had never actually taken a yoga class before. I was self-taught. I had done a few online classes, like free YouTube ones, but I had never actually done a class with other people in the room with me, and that's what I really wanted to be able to share that with people. So that's my story of why we're talking about what we're talking about here today. But finding your flow state, I think, is incredibly important. And I noticed that beginning to happen right in 2019 when I had pandas disorder. And the reason why I continued to practice yoga so much was because I was in that flow state. I was really, really, really starting to connect with myself, and I could feel the benefits. I could feel the healing. I mean, obviously it didn't go away, right, day and night, but like, I'm gonna be honest here, a big part of why I recovered from pandas was just age. But also a lot of it was I had adopted many, many, many self-care practices that were good for me, not only with my mind, but my soul, my body. Like, I was healing myself from inside out because I didn't have doctors. It took a long time to find a doctor who would help me. It took 13 doctors until one of them was able to really figure out what was going on and do something about it. And so in that time, I had to learn how to kind of cope by myself and do the best I could to heal by myself. And yoga was one of those things that I just kept coming back to, yoga and meditation, because it targeted all three aspects, mind, body, and soul. And it really, truly, like, I would crave my time doing yoga. I would crave that feeling of peace and slowing down. And I do think that that's part of the reason why I'm able to look back on having pandas today and see that it was a terrible experience and I learned from it, right? I'm not saying it was a good experience. I'm not saying I'm glad that I went through all that pain, but I am glad that I learned the lessons that I learned. And I think that mindset shift, a big portion of it was adopting healthy practices like yoga. And yoga is not just about the poses. It's a lifestyle. It's a way, it's a mindset. It dates back to so many years ago, right? Like, it is so deep. And that was when I started to begin to understand that, because that was when I started to begin to feel the actual, like, feel the deeper benefits, because I was finding myself in this flow state. So that is what I do think is really important for us. I think that it's important to have a practice of meditation in some way, shape, or form, because meditation, it can do so many different things for your brain. It can improve your memory, your reaction times. It can improve your ability to process through things. Like, meditation is incredible for your brain. But that doesn't mean that it has to be the meditation that we usually think of. It doesn't have to be sitting, cross-legged with your eyes closed and breathing and focusing inward. Like, that doesn't need to be what it is. I think it's an incredible practice, and I think everyone should try it, right? But I'm not going to be talking about today. What I'm really talking about today is finding a flow state, because in a way that is a meditative practice. When you are doing something that you love, that you are basically losing yourself in, that you are losing track of time and being in the present moment, like, that is what meditation is. And so that can be things like, I know multiple people who, for them, that's going to the weight room. For other people, it's playing a sport. For other people, it's being in music, playing piano. I know for me, it used to be playing piano, playing bassoon. I don't really play it much anymore, but I would love to, because I definitely got that in that moment. For other people, maybe like reading or something, right? It's different for everyone, but it has really, really big benefits into your brain. And my process of finding that is really, I think, in order to find your flow state, you have to be offline and be in the present moment. Be with your surroundings, where you are. And that is something that I think, again, very similar to the other episodes I've been doing lately. There's a theme here, right? Can you guys tell that I'm struggling with the online space? And I have for a while, and I will probably continue to. But being offline is something that's really important, to be able to have this like meditative time. I mean, there are apps like Headspace that are important if you want to do actual like meditation, right? But to just find your flow state and to get the benefits that come from that, I think being offline is really important to do that, because you are in the present moment. You are focusing on what is going on here right now. And that is the first step to finding it. And then, I mean, I've been embracing lately just trying to allow myself to be bored. When I don't have anything to do, allow myself to be bored and not reach right for my phone. I put like the little kids controls on my phone lately, the screen time limits or something, and I banned Instagram on my phone, like completely. Because I was still, I don't have Instagram on my phone, but I was still opening the web browser and stuff. So I just completely banned it on my phone. If I want to be on Instagram, which I do like to see what people are up to, I do like to post for Eunoia and just for personal reasons too, I have to do it on my computer. And that has been really helpful to me. So just things like that, where it's like, I know personally that when I get bored, when I don't know what to do, I immediately reach for my phone. I immediately reach for something online that's basically going to think for me. And being bored is really good for you, though. It's really like, we're not supposed to have constant stimulation in our brains. Like, we're not supposed to, it's really good to stimulate your brain, but you're not supposed to constantly have that your brain doesn't even have any time for anything else. And finding a flow state it's not necessarily easy. You have to really, it's like you're doing things without even thinking about it. So, with things like sports, right? Like, you have to know what you're doing and stuff, but it's a meditative practice. And by being offline and allowing yourself to be bored, you can start to explore what different things are. And, maybe it's coloring in an adult coloring book. Maybe it's painting. Maybe it's trying a new hobby. Maybe it's trying a new sport. Maybe it's, there's so many different things. And by being bored and being offline, instead of just reaching for our phones right away, we're allowing ourselves the opportunity to find something that gives us that feeling of passion, of being like, yes, just embracing the present moment. And I've been talking about just being offline and embracing the moment a lot lately in the podcast. And part of why that is because I have noticed that, it's been this crazy pattern, like so much of a pattern, where anytime that I am struggling or I'm not doing as well, I'm feeling a little bit like I don't have control over things, usually my first reaction is to distract myself with my phone, to get rid of my good habits that are offline, or I will be feeling bad because I have been online so much lately. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm making sense here, but I've found that there seems to be some sort of correlation there, where it's like having a healthy balance can be incredible and being online can be really good for you. But it's so easy. Like, there's a very fine line. And for me, it's really easy to be online too much to a point where it hurts me. And I have found that a lot of my own habits, and I mean, just talking to other people too, hearing the same thing from other people, like, I think being on our phones so much, or just being online so much, it takes away the opportunity to live, right? And it's hard to come up with habits offline when you don't really understand why, or there's not really something specific that you're looking for. It's kind of just like, well, I know I shouldn't be online, so I'll try. Like, it's hard to keep that habit. It's hard to keep habits in general, right? And so I think for me, starting to think about it in terms of, I want to be finding a flow state and other things, not just that physical practice of meditation, but in many moments of my life. I want to be able to find things offline that fill me with joy, that make me feel so happy, that remind me I'm being, I'm in the present moment. And having that and having that goal has helped me focus more on being offline and actually follow through with it. So I guess just a little bit of food for thought today. This is, I personally feel like we're in a time where people are starting to feel a little burnt out from being online all the time. And I think it's important to at least see, what it can do for you. It doesn't mean you can't ever be on your phone, right? But it's been a practice that I have noticed a difference in, and it has been really helpful for me. So I invite you to also try that, or just, it's a little bit of food for thought. It's a little bit of like, I'm curious, do other people feel the same way? Is this something that maybe it's just me? But yeah, I will see you next week on the podcast. Make sure to subscribe. I also have the email newsletter as well now, which is on my website. You can get that there. So make sure to follow along, so then this can be delivered right to your inbox right away. And I'll see you next time.